Okay, so it was brought to my attention that some former developers from Rare made a quote spiritual successor to Jet Force Gemini. Obviously, being a Jet Force Gemini runner, I wanted to check it out. I've watched the trailer already, but I'm gonna watch through it again on stream. This will be an opportunity for me to actually like see everything and figure out how I feel about this game. Because a Jet Force Gemini remake or sequel or something in the same vein has been something that I have been keeping an eye out for a long time now. So the game's called Tamarin or Tamarin. I haven't heard anyone say it, so I don't know exactly the way that it's pronounced. It's made by Chameleon Games. Insects are taking over. I mean, these guys look exactly like drones from Jet Force Gemini. This summer for $30, 40 with the soundtrack. Oh, apparently a tamarin is a squirrel thing. Or a monkey. I don't see anything about the company or the game outside of their actual webpage. So this seems like it's their first game. Alright, so this is the game's announcement trailer. I don't know if it's loud for y'all, but this is loud for me. This is reminiscent of Jet Force Gemini. With like a Ori and the Blind Forest feel. With the music and the aesthetics. This is still really loud. Yeah, I'm getting like a big time Ori vibe. Which it seems to fit until now. And a little bit of a banjo feel. Is the music supposed to be like playing in the universe of the game, or is it soundtrack only? Because the drones or ants, whatever they're gonna call them, seem like they were dancing. Looks like it's gonna have not dead yet drones. Great. Super happy about that. Don't know what that collectible is. Might be health or a power-up. There's no HUD, so it's hard to tell exactly. Those must be tribal equivalents. Not super excited about having to save those. Is that the whole trailer? Okay, so a couple observations. I really like the way that it looks. It's how I would expect Jet Force Gemini to look if it were... When I see people remake Jet Force Gemini levels in the Unreal Engine, this is almost exactly what it looks like. This is almost a direct scene from Jet Force. This is... Let me pull up the actual video. So this image and this one, I think it's definitely a nod. The movement looks really nice. I'm hoping there's some sort of dash mechanic that can make you run faster. Like maybe that isn't just like a jump to a target. I'm not sure how I feel about this at all. Like, I get that they're probably alien creatures. They're more technologically advanced, but aesthetically it doesn't fit. This just looks like a parking garage to me. Or something similar. It just looks like kind of industrial more so than... What is that logo, I wonder? A key? Okay, so it looks like you can target, like the N64 era, like Z-target groups of enemies and probably individual enemies, and then individually target with like the analog stick within that range. It locks you in a certain spot, your crosshairs, and then you can pinpoint things within that, which I can't think of other games that, I'm sure there are, but I can't think of other games that do that, which could be a really cool mechanic for picking off individual enemies, especially if there's friendly NPCs that you don't want to hit within that area. That could be really cool, like if it's like a hostage situation, or if there's weak points that you want to hit. They could do a lot with that, I think. And it seems like it's a good compromise between super easy auto-aim when you're not manually targeting and having to be extremely precise when you are. Is that a lock-on feature? I hope that the birds don't get killed by enemies. The Tamarin creature thing is like cute. I like the way that it's designed. How it runs on 4 legs except when it's shooting. The jumping with the arrows looks very... I'm gonna go back to it. This looks like you're targeting a specific spot and then jumping to it versus it just telling you where to jump to and you manually deciding exactly where to land and how far to jump, which makes some platforming a lot easier. I hope that that's not the extent of any platforming where like all of the jumping is just basically done for you. You just have to hit A or whatever the button will be. Okay, so the birds are obviously the tribal equivalent. I don't know what this is though. It showed up previously in the trailer a couple times, guiding your way. I'm imagining you get some sort of... This mole guy, hedgehog, looks like he gives you weapons that are technologically based, like guns and things like that. And I'm gonna bet that this fairy creature, wherever it is, this thing probably gives you some sort of either like access to a new area or it gives you power-ups that give you new abilities. I'm not looking forward to there being, if this is just a corpse or if this is an enemy that's not dying yet and you have to wait or shoot it again to go through the life force door or whatever they're gonna call it. So overall impression, it looks fun. It looks like it would be enjoyable casually. I don't know about speedrunning. It looks like it controls a lot more smoothly, but 20 years after Jet Force Gemini has been released and dual analog controls and keyboard and mouse controls are a thing that every game has now. So if it didn't control more smoothly, the game just is a failure because Jet Force Gemini controls like garbage. And so since the controls are so much better, including parts outside of combat, I wanted to find a good example. But like this looks nice. I like this a lot. It looks like the platforming is going to be 1,000,000 times better than when Jet Force Gemini attempts it. Specifically, I'm thinking of Bela on iCore having to navigate the moving platforms and the parts where the panels like push you off. It's not even like fun trying to solve puzzles. It just is irritating and seems like it would just be time better spent like on a straight line or fighting enemies. Weapons and the combat were the drawing feature of Jet Force Gemini, and the platforming was second or third to that. It looks like this one's going to be more of a balance between platforming and combat, maybe heavier on platforming. It looks like it controls really well. It looks like the platforming will be quite a bit of fun. I hope that it isn't just platforming for the sake of it, and there's like some puzzle mechanics and portions where like the platforming can actually be a challenge. I don't know if the game is directed toward a younger audience since it's like a kind of cartoony looking main character, or if it's directed towards an audience that's remembers the golden age of Rareware. I really hope that they put a lot of time into the controls because that would make or break a game like this. Hopefully it doesn't make the same mistakes that Jet Force Gemini did, as far as how the collecting works and how that progresses the game. I'm hoping that it's a little bit more like narrative driven or progressive versus you get to the halfway point and then it's just go find stuff until the end of the game. I'm hoping that it's more like you might have to collect a certain amount of the NPCs to unlock the next area, but you don't have to, one, collect all of them, and two, that's not the only thing that you're doing to progress, because it's just not good game design. But the enemy design looks cool. I hope that there's more variety than what we see in the trailer. I'm excited for it. I had no idea that this game existed until now. I will be looking into this a lot.